While free agency has kind of cooled down a bit, there are moves going off right now that actually kind of have an impact to the San Francisco 49ers. You can see on the screen, you have Juan Thornhill, who signed a 1 year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the reason why we're making this video is because Thornhill actually was in the 49ers building last Thursday as he was scheduled for a free agent visit. Clearly, he left without signing and he signs elsewhere. So it is interesting, first of all, that they were still meeting with Thornhill just based on how they have already added two safeties in free agency, Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant. And they have added other secondary players as well, such as Trey Brown and Trey Tomlinson. So it was kind of interesting to see that they were going after yet another safety, but they didn't come home with this one. He lands with the Steelers. And then this one hits a little close to home, even though there was no reported direct ties to interest from the San Francisco 49ers or what have you. Azeez Ojulari was, the kind of best edge rusher left available on the open market, considering he's still a very young player. He does have the ability to rush the passer, but he signs a 1 year, $4 million deal with the Eagles, which is crazy because it's just another player from Georgia that goes and signs with the Eagles. They are building like I think almost more than half of their starting defense could potentially be Georgia Bulldogs. So it's crazy. Ojulari had 6 sacks last year. And he's dealt with injuries and he hasn't been he's not like a true 3 down defensive end. I look at him more as a situational pass rusher, but when you look at the 49ers releasing Leonard Floyd, it felt like they were in the market for someone who could rush the passer, considering they have Nick Bosa, Yetur Gross-Matos, who's more of kind of an inside-out guy, Sam Okwuonu, Robert Beal, Drake Jackson, Jonathan Garvin, Taron Jackson. Those are your edge players right now for the San Francisco 49ers. So they're very thin and they continue to be thin, and there's now not a whole lot of options available. They might be able to sign some depth players, but Azeez felt kind of like the last potential impact signing, and the fact that he goes for 1 year, $4 million. Woo! To the Eagles? See, that's tough because if he went for, I would say, much higher value in free agency, I could have totally understand the 49ers turning their head and being like, you know what, too much. We're not interested. But 1 year, 4 million for a guy who can rush the passer, that's tough. That's tough. So 49ers, we don't know if there was even any interest to begin with. He was a player that I was really hoping that they would go after. Um, and we'll see. We'll see how they address this position. But as it currently stands, heading into the draft, it is glaring how big of holes they have on the defensive line. And this is so abnormal of the 49ers roster building strategy under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, because they like every year, like clockwork, they have gone into the draft with specific holes filled. Even if it's just depth pieces, they still had those kind of positions filled with potential options. But on the defensive line, it is so thin right now. It's hard to see just like what the plan is. Is the plan just draft 4 to 5 defensive linemen? Um, they haven't signed any defensive linemen in free agency, so it's definitely an interesting strategy, and it just seems like such a deviation from what we've been used to, considering the fact that they have been so openly, they would discuss how they build with the defensive line, and that is like the foundation of the entire team. And one of the reasons why I didn't love what they did last year in free agency is because they got rid of Eric Armstead. They brought in Yetur Gross Matos, who has upside, but was still a bit unproven. Leonard Floyd, a little bit older, didn't love the signing. It was an okay signing. They bring in Malik Collins, didn't love that. It was okay. And so heading into the year, my biggest concern was that defensive line. And I've said it multiple times, now they did kind of, I think, play a little bit better than I had expected. But when Hargrave goes down early and Jordan Elliott just, Evan Anderson did take some steps forward. Kevin Givens got injured as well, but Kevin Givens I do like. I think he's pretty solid. I guess you could call that a defensive line signing. They brought him back. But a lot of questions on that 49ers defensive line. So, how are the San Francisco 49ers going to handle this? What are they going to do moving forward? Is it all the draft? I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.